The Haryana polls, the voter turnout till 9 a.m. is close to 10%. Well, the picture will be clearer by, say, early afternoon as to which way, the voters are voting. Perhaps there have been many theories in the past. A high voter percentage indicates, as per many experts, some sort of advantage for the incumbent. A lower voter turnout, as many say, could be against the incumbents. Of course, these theories have done the rounds many a times in the past, but nobody can really say for sure what will happen. There's many a slip between a cup and the lip. But all these visuals coming in from Haryana, Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar casting his vote. Also, Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini, I beg your pardon, former Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar there casting his vote. Also, Vinesh Phogat, who of course is contesting from Julana. Her entry into the poll dangle, as it were, has made the election even more interesting. Many say that this has given an edge to the Congress as well. So all star campaigners more or less have cast their votes, from Manohar Lal Khattar, Nayab Saini, Vinesh Phogat, Kumari Shailja, the Bishnoi family, except the Hudas. The Hudas have still not stepped out. The Chautalas have also cast their vote. So all eyes now on the Hudas. But let me bring in our reporters now. Aishwarya is joining us from Karnal, I believe, unless he's moved to a new constituency now. And also Gurpreet is with us from Ladwa. So going across to you first, Gurpreet. The Chief Minister is now out. He is, I believe, inspecting various polling booths. He has cast his vote early morning. But you have been reporting on, what the voters are thinking about in terms of what they think about Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini. Do they consider him as leader, given the fact that it's a new constituency for him? But what are some of the other issues you're picking up?
Well, if we can talk about the voters, we had a word with a lot of voters to understand what are their sentiments. What we have learned, a main issue which is coming out very prominently from all the voters, they say unemployment has become one of the major issue. One side we have seen the state BJP government, they have been claiming there is no anti-incumbency and they had provided a lot of jobs to youth. But now we have seen even the old age people also, they are putting a question mark over this unemployment, saying that their sons and their daughters, they are working at a far distance, and it's one of the major issue. At the other side, we have seen the farmer issues also coming up, even that they are saying a lot of protests were being held there. Now, a few minutes back, we had a word with the Chief Minister of Haryana, Nayab Singh Saini, and he has already made it very clear, saying that there is no anti-incumbency. But at this point of time, if we can talk about the political party, all the political party, whether it's the BJP, whether it's the Congress, whether it's Aam Aadmi Party, whether it's INLD or JJP, all the leaders are quite confident. But let's see that which political party will be able to gain or retain power in the state of Haryana. As of now, what we can understand, the government, the BJP government has been working for the last 10 years. They have been claiming a lot of development had been done by them, and they are asking for the votes on the basis of the development. On the other hand, we have seen all the opposition party, whether it's the Congress party, Aam Aadmi Party, INLD or other parties, they are putting question mark. They are saying the BJP government was not able to come up to the expectation of the people.
Stay on with us. Bhupinder Hooda has also reached the polling booth. He is set to cast his vote in a short while from now. So he is among the late voters as far as star campaigners are concerned. I believe he is speaking to the media. Let's try and dip into the audio there.
नायब सिंह सैनी ने कहा कि हम तीसरी बार क्या मुद्दे आपको लग रहा है ग्राउंड पे नायब सिंह सैनी ने कहा कि हम तीसरी बार सरकार बनाने जा रहे हैं।
और क्या कहेंगे, वो सरकार तो कांग्रेस की बन रही है।
सर, क्या सबसे अहम मुद्दा लग रहा है इस चुनाव में?
मुद्दे ही मुद्दे हैं, एक मुद्दे नहीं, मुद्दे ही मुद्दे हैं। ये विफल सरकार है, इस वास्ते लोगों ने फैसला कर लिया इस सरकार को बदलेंगे।
सर, मनोहर लाल खट्टर का बयान आया है, वो कह रहे कांग्रेस पार्टी अपने आप को नहीं संभाल पा रही है, सरकार के
They're speaking to the media, very confident, saying that the Congress is returning to power. Let's try and see if he is speaking again.
मुद्दे हैं, लोगों ने मन बना लिया अब की बार कांग्रेस की सरकार।
एक अपील करना चाहेंगे सरकार के लिए, आप कितने कॉन्फिडेंट हैं?
मतदाताओं से ये अपील है, शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से चुनाव करें, भाईचारा मजबूत करें और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मतदान करें, अपने जो अधिकार है उसका प्रयोग करें।
सर, कितने कॉन्फिडेंट हैं आप कांग्रेस की सरकार
के लिए?
10 सालों के बाद
और आप कह रहे हैं कि बीजेपी जा रही है।
हाँ। कांग्रेस आ रही है, बीजेपी जा रही है।
सर क्या लहर है इस बार कांग्रेस की? सर एक बार
there, but certainly exuding confidence that the Congress will return to power. Of course, he has been a two-term chief minister as far as Haryana is concerned. Let me try and go across to my colleague Tanushka. Okay, let us settle a little because there is a lot of media there, and rightfully so. Bhupinder Hooda has really been leading the Congress campaign as far as Haryana is concerned, and he has quelled or sort of ruled out all reports of anti-incumbency. Though of course Kumari Shailja has been pretty vocal in saying that there are issues within the Congress and they have to be balanced out, they have to be sorted out. But Bhupinder Hooda has cast his vote there in Rohtak. The Rohtak campaign has been very interesting to see because the entire Hooda family virtually has campaigned extensively. This is a family bastion. This is something, whether it's Rohtak or Sonipat, the Hooda family has really focused on it a great deal with all his recruitment drives, etc., which is why he has that loyal support base there. But let me bring in Tanushka now. In fact, Tanushka was at that very polling booth. She tried to question Bhupinder Hooda there as well. So, Tanushka, Bhupinder Hooda has ruled out all possible reports of infighting, but he's very confident that the Congress will return to power.
Right, exactly, Vedant. Currently, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, along with his family, is moving out of his residence towards Sanghi village to cast their vote. As you can see, the car behind me is moving out at this point. And what he said, what he spoke to the media, was that he said that Congress ki sarkar aa rahi hai aur BJP ki sarkar ja rahi hai. As you can see the visuals right here, that is Bhupinder Singh Hooda, former Chief Minister of Haryana, who is moving towards Sanghi village, which is his hometown village, and he is moving towards there to cast his vote. And what we are understanding at this point, that Bhupinder Singh Hooda seems very confident with respect to his voting.
Okay, we seem to have lost that line there with Tanushka. We'll try and reconnect with her. But as Tanushka is reporting, Bhupinder Singh Hooda has left his residence and he is now on his way to the polling booth, saying that there is no chance of the BJP returning to power. In fact, let me bring in Aishwarya at this point. Aishwarya, when you had spoken to Kumari Shailja, very interestingly, she did not rule herself out from the Chief Minister's race. She said that, it's something that will be left to the High Command. There will be a CLP meet. They will pass a one-line resolution and the High Command will ultimately decide. So, of course, she has said that there are issues within the Congress and they need to be resolved. But, Bhupinder Hooda, who is just left for the polling booth, he has said that, well, there are no issues. He has said, Kumari Shailja hamari behan hai, and, there are no issues at all as far as the Hooda and Shailja camp are concerned. What is the sense that you get as far as that infighting is concerned?
Well, certainly there is infighting in the Congress party. Of course, Kumari Shailja in the past had come out in open, and therefore the reason perhaps we had seen that Kumari Shailja was not campaigning in Haryana till September 16th. Ultimately, there was a meeting that was held with the High Command with Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, and she expressed about the disappointments about the giving tickets to the candidates and not letting her to fight the elections in the Haryana polls, as she had stated earlier as well that she wanted to contest as well. So yes, it was out in open that there was infighting in the Congress party, although a larger message was ultimately sent out by the Congress High Command when there was Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi came out and addressed mega public rallies. We saw how Kumari Shailja along with Bhupinder Singh Hooda and others came to a same stage. But of course, infighting is out and open, that's everybody knows, and therefore the reason perhaps the Bharatiya Janata Party had attacked the Congress party in its own and stated that Congress infighting will lead Congress to have defeat in these elections as well, and they have no future in Haryana and nor in the country as well. But it is certainly on the other side, the Bharatiya Janata Party seems very confident. Congress altogether, the leaders also seem very confident in these elections. Both the parties are focusing on. But where I am is Karnal, which is a hot belt in itself, because it's a prestige battle between the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress Party as well. And there you can see the political party booths outside the election polling station, and heavy crowd can be seen. We have been told that 10% of the voting had taken place till 9 a.m. in the morning, and it is, of course, Manohar Lal Khattar's. It was Manohar Lal Khattar's seat earlier, Karnal, where he fought from, ultimately vacated for Nayab Singh Saini. But now, Udaybhan Anand, who is the current candidate from Karnal, he is a close aide of Manohar Lal Khattar.
Okay.
On the other side, it is from the Congress Party, Sumita Singh, who
Sure.
is contesting. And still, large queues can be seen at the election.
Aishwarya, stay on with us.
headquarters
I
out
believe
here
Ishika is also with
voters
us, and
coming
she is
out.
joined by INB Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. Ishika, over to you.
Well, yes, certainly, Vedant. We are present here in Gurugram, where, in fact, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw is here also to cast his vote. Sir, today is a big day for Haryana, and you're also voting for Gurugram, sir. What is the message, first of all, that you want to send to all the voters?
हरियाणा में जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का काम हुआ है और जिस तरह से जन जन का विश्वास जीता है, आज इस वोटिंग के दिन मैं सभी हरियाणा के वोटर्स से निवेदन करूंगा कि इस काम के लिए वोट दें।
सर, एंटी इनकम्बेंसी आपको लग रही है कि यहाँ पर होगी?
प्रो इनकम्बेंसी है।
प्रो इनकम्बेंसी है। सर, लगता है कि कांग्रेस का जो इन फाइटिंग का जो मुद्दा आप लोगों ने उठाया था, वो कहीं ना कहीं बीजेपी को एज देगा, क्योंकि वो बार बार डिनाई कर रहे हैं कांग्रेस का। So certainly, Ashwini Vaishnaw here coming, and he is going to cast his vote. But the Union Minister saying certainly that it is pro-incumbency and that the BJP will be winning even this election. So certainly, Vedant, we are seeing that the people, the voters are also turning up. The BJP certainly is very confident at the moment to form the government again in Haryana. Over to you.
In fact, interestingly, Ishika, as we see Ashwini Vaishnaw in your frame, we have seen that for the BJP, it has really been a carpet bomb campaign for Haryana, with top ministers, the Prime Minister, of course, himself campaigning extensively. And certainly, it's about that double-engine Sarkar plank that the BJP still is very much relying on, with top ministers campaigning, also chief ministers from across India going and campaigning in Haryana as well.
Well, yeah, certainly that is the formula of the BJP that we see, and we are seeing here also in Haryana elections. We're seeing the top leaders of the BJP, the union ministers. We saw, them holding rallies, road shows here in Haryana. So certainly that double engine ki sarkar is certainly something that they trust on, that they rely on to get the voters on their side. Over to you.
All right, Ishika, thanks very much for joining us with that, and also getting us Ashwini Vaishnaw, who said that there's pro-incumbency in Haryana and not anti-incumbency. Before I bring in my guest, Aishwarya, a quick word from you also before I let you go on from where you're joining us, Karnal. It's an industrial area. So, of course, voters have very different set of issues as far as Karnal is concerned, development, urban infrastructure. Are there these issues that they're talking about in Karnal? All these districts, whether it's Karnal or Kaithal, we see, the industrial issues are something that are top of mind.
Unemployment, poverty are some of the major issues, and we spoke to voters who came out in large numbers. And let me show you this ground report from the polling station where I am reporting from. It's Karnal, where a high prestige battle is on between the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress Party. Of course, the Bharatiya Janata Party had been saying that they are aiming for an hat-trick this time, and once again, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini, they will be forming their government, and all of those policies that are for for the people. It's a double-engine sarkar which they will be implementing. The due promises, of course, will be completed in 5 to 6 months if they come back to the power. But on the other side, it is the Congress who had given several guarantees to the state of Haryana, including the pension schemes, the Agniveer, the health schemes, and there you can see, people coming out in large numbers. We've been told that 10% approximately voting had concluded over here in Karnal till 9 a.m. and still elderly people, senior citizens, youngsters, all coming out in large numbers to vote over here at this election booth. And certainly it is also, the top leaders who had already casted their vote as far as the Karnal constituency is concerned. But of course, when it's come to the local issues, they had been stating that unemployment is the major problem that they are facing in last 10 years. The youth had not given so much of job opportunities, and therefore the reason perhaps in both the Sankalp Patra of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the guarantees that had been given by the Congress party, it has been promised to the voters that there will be job opportunities that will be increased in the state of Haryana, and better infrastructure will be also created for these people. As you can see, there are still voters queuing up over here to cast their vote. We have spoken to Manohar Lal Khattar a short while back. He stated that, there had been a lot of work that had been done. The promises that had been done till now will be, had been fulfilled, and in the upcoming 5 years, they will take Haryana to number 1 as far as, the growth is concerned as well. So, yes, there had been massive political fight that erupted on several key issues between the political parties, but when it has come down to the wire, how this will be impacting on ground, whether the voters will be, casting their vote, keeping in mind the local issues or the national issues, something that remains to be seen.
All right, Aishwarya, thanks very much for joining us with that from Karnal. A very interesting constituency to watch out for. But let me bring in my guests also at this hour. Hemant Datri, senior journalist, is with us. Also Karthikeya Batra, political researcher. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for being with us this morning. Mr. Batra, going across to you first, what are some of the defining themes of the Haryana elections as far as you're concerned? Of course, Agnipath, the Agnipath scheme is something that has become a hugely emotive issue, and of course, other issues such as unemployment, education, but these are issues that are not specific to Haryana. But as far as the campaign is concerned, as far as the election is concerned, what are some of the defining themes that you're picking up?
Thanks, Vedant. So I think that unemployment is a big issue. I think the issue of the farmers, the Agniveer scheme, as you rightly mentioned, the whole sentiment in Haryana that this government has been kind of confrontational in many ways, whether it's the wrestlers issue or the farmers issue, the popularity or unpopularity of the former Chief Minister, Mr. Manohar Lal Khattar, the fact that the CM had to be changed just a month or 2 months before the Lok Sabha election, the fact that a lot of the BJP workers in certain belts are not happy, the fact that there is this sentiment for change that it's 10 years of the same government, the fact that certain MLAs are facing very strong anti-incumbency in their own constituencies, especially if they've been renominated, the fact that unemployment is a much bigger issue in Haryana, which is testified by the fact that you have these issues of donkey, for example.
Yes.
Haryanvis going to different countries to get jobs, and at the risk of their own lives. The drug menace in certain parts. Basically, Haryana has multiple issues. Some of them are pan-Haryana, some of them are more localized. But at this point, it seems like that people, when I was on the field, Mr. Atri has been on the field for now several weeks, so he'll tell you better. But when I was on the field, the sentiment was that of change, not in all pockets of Haryana, but in large pockets of Haryana, which is why it seems that it is heading for a change this time.
So I think that's well encapsulated. I think there's the sentiment for change, whether it's in terms of organization or, as you mentioned, that there are multiple issues sort of running parallelly. But Mr. Atri, looking at the caste arithmetic, I think that is extremely key as well when it comes to Haryana. Do you see it as some sort of a dilemma, both for the BJP and the Congress, to look at some sort of non-Jat consolidation and at the same time battle this issue of the split of the Jat vote? Because, you know, both the parties, the Congress and the BJP, have focused a great deal of the non-Jat votes as well, whether it's the OBCs or, you know, other backward castes as well. Both parties are looking to sort of consolidate those votes as well. Do you see this as a dilemma, and who has the edge when it comes to the caste arithmetic?
Good morning, Vedantji. Mr. Batra has perfectly articulated the whole scenario in Haryana.
Yeah.
Actually, this time around, if you see, and historically also, in 58 years of Haryana's journey from 1966 till date, that is 2024, no government ever has repeated for the third time. That is a historical perspective. As you pointedly asked, what is the caste polarization this time? I don't think any caste polarization on the ground this time, for the very simple reason. As you know, Haryana has traditionally been always a triangular fight. There is a regional force, and then there are the national parties. This time around, if you see in Lok Sabha a few months back and now also, there is a direct fight between Congress and BJP. And the caste polarization only happens once there are more than two competitors. This time, neither INLD is able to hit the ground the way it should have been, nor the JJP is completely ruled out. Actually, it is out of the fray. So for that reason, there is a direct contest between Congress and BJP. And BJP is, you know, facing a very severe anti-incumbency, and for the reasons that Mr. Batra has rightly pointed out. See, Vedantji, this time around, if you see, there is a perception for change on the ground. If you see the voting percentage, it's only 3 hours, and it's only already, as per my sources, it has crossed 14%. So if you see, historically, Haryana is a high voting state, all through, right from the inception.
Yeah.
If Haryana votes more than 75%, which generally happens, here the voting percentage is generally between 69% to 76.4% in last about 20 years. So if Haryana crosses more than 70% of polling, be rest assured there is an anti-incumbency wave. Every time it happens. And if at all the voting percentage is less than 69, then you can expect for something else, which is not basically visible as of now once we are talking. So the whole game is between Congress and BJP. There is a perception for change. The way Manohar Lal was changed, the way Manohar Lal's pictures even are not used in the campaign, the way BJP could not create a narrative around its own things, its achievements.
In fact, his body language this morning also, I mean, he wasn't seeming too confident as he is usually. And, you know, very interesting that he said that Nayab Singh Saini is the leader of the BJP. He is leading the campaign, sort of very categorically saying that. But Karthike, come in on this point, because while, of course, you know, Mr. Atri talks about it being a direct contest between the BJP and the Congress, where do you see the regional players? I mean, their influence has been reduced a great deal, both the INLD as well as JJP. But you also have the Aam Aadmi Party now. Interesting that the Aam Aadmi Party performed well in the Panchayat polls, but they haven't really been able to make any impact as far as the Lok Sabha polls were concerned. How do you see these smaller players and also independents? In many of the seats, there are independents who have emerged as very strong candidates.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head when you say that. I think the only third forces which are relevant this time around, to some extent, are independents and in some pockets the INLD. So a very interesting thing happened last assembly election, Vedant, was that Haryana's election, which used to be tripolar or multipolar, started shrinking. So if you look at the combined vote share of the Congress and the BJP, it used to be in the 50s. It went into the 60s last time. And that was primarily because the INLD collapsed. And while a large part of that went to the JJP, a large part of it was also split between the BJP and the Congress. This election, by all means, it seems, is heading for a further bipolarization of the state. That does not take away from the fact that certain pockets will still remain multipolar. In fact, in some seats, political parties, the two main political parties, have an interest in making the election more multipolar. So in the Jat belt, for example, where the BJP cannot win against the Congress by itself, it has fielded several independent candidates. Look at the seats in Haryana. When I say fielded, I mean supported. So look at seats in Sonipat, for example. Look at what's happening in certain seats in the other Jat belt, which is in Sirsa, Fatehabad, Kaithal, Jeend, Hisar. look at the election in the main Hisar city, where Savitri Jindal ji is fighting the election, supported by the BJP. So, in certain areas, the third forces have been supported by the BJP, and in some cases, Congress leaders have fielded third forces. But having said that, I don't think that they'll make that big a dent. INLD might win some seats in certain pockets, but the bigger challenge that they might pose, if at all, will be to the Congress's vote share in certain seats, and that allows the BJP to, in a triangular contest, to take away some seats. Although highly unlikely, that's the only thing that can happen. But otherwise, I see a decline in the third force's vote share and a further bipolarization of the state's politics. This election is also a very big test for the legacy of the three Lals, Chaudhary Devi Lal, Bhajan Lal ji and Chaudhary Bansi Lal. Their families are fighting. In some cases, their families are fighting against each other on different symbols. And in some cases, they're actually fighting for relevance. So I think Haryana's politics after this election might be in for a kind of an overhaul. Aam Aadmi Party, as you said, is kind of a non-starter, it seems, except for a few seats where it might get a few votes here and there. But in terms of winnability, it seems it's going to be a majority chunk will go to the Congress and the BJP. The other sentiment that you find in Haryana on the ground, Vedant, is that people don't want to vote for a candidate who they think will not be aligned with the government, because they feel that the perks of power are only available to a constituency if the MLA sides with the government. So in that case, knowing that a third force cannot form a government or is highly unlikely to form a government, people do not want to, in a way, as they say, waste their vote on a force who they are not very sure of in terms of the standing in Chandigarh.
I think that's very well put, Karthike, in terms of how the sort of alliance dynamic will also play out. The BJP, of course, deciding to go it alone this time, but also looking at all the dynasts in the fray. I think that is very interesting to see as well. Of course, you have these big families emerging as power centers, whether it's the INLD, the JJP, the Congress, of course, but even in the BJP, you have a lot of former Congress families, former Congress leaders, their sons and daughters, from Shruti Chaudhary to Kuldeep Bishnoi, contesting as well. So that's interesting that, in Jammu and Kashmir, the BJP sort of cornering the PDP and NC on dynasty, but here in Haryana, you have so many dynasts fighting on a BJP ticket.
There's nothing new, no, Vedant. I mean, it's politics. So you say something, you preach something, but you not practice it, right? I mean, if you look at the current makeup of the BJP in terms of the political party, the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, you'll find several of those dynasts. And I think probably that's the reason, one of the reasons why the dynast attack on opposition parties has blunted over time.
Yes.
When Mr. Modi came first in 2014, there was a lot of sharpness to that attack. But that has gotten blunted, although one might say that it is still a party at the helm of which is a non-dynast. Which is very unlikely, in terms of if you look at other parties. So that granted to the BJP. But otherwise, beneath that top rung, the middle level rung or the lower level rung, I don't think the party is any different anymore than, say, a Congress or any other regional party. If you look at, the sons and daughters of different leaders in the BJP, whether it's Mr. Rajnath Singh, Mr. Sundara Raje, they all have their children settled in good positions. Now, when it comes to Haryana, you're absolutely right. It is not just dynasts, it's imported dynasts.
Yes.
Because
exactly.
the BJP was not a natural party in Haryana. It used to fight in alliances in INLD. It's only in the last 10 years that it's become a party to reckon with on its own. And so when that happens, there's a lot of poaching that happens. And so whether it's Ms. Shruti Chaudhary, whether it's Mr. Bhavya Bishnoi, the names, and as I have said, I think it's a test for three families' legacies.
Yes.
Chaudhary Devi Lal, Chaudhary Bansi Lal, and Mr. Bhajan Lal. Their families are in the fray. In the case of Mr. Chaudhary Devi Lal, the families are fighting each other on different symbols.
Yes.
So, it is a fight for political relevance for the entire family.
I think that's a very interesting phrase you've got, imported dynasts. But thanks very much, Karthike and Mr. Atri, for joining us. There's a lot to unpack. It's going to be an extremely interesting election. Of course, voters talking about a host of issues from employment, education, agrarian distress, which is a very real issue when it comes to Haryana, to, of course, larger issues like the caste census, MSP guarantee, and so on and so forth. This remains our top focus on NDTV, but we'll skip to a short break now.